Greetings, everybody. This is Serpentine451 here, and welcome to another episode of Weeb Warriors. And joining me, as always, is my good friend Jordan. How you doing tonight, Jordan?
Hanging in there, Tony.
I think we all should just hang in there. But anyway, let's get to our anime this week. It's actually a bit of an impressive week, all things considered. Wouldn't you agree, Jordan?
Yeah, I think it's been a solid week of anime. There's no series that I'm not looking forward to continuing, so they've all made it past the 3-episode mark. Obviously, for that time I reincarnated as a slime, it's long since passed, but
it's continuing.
yeah, but point being that it hasn't fallen off at the tail end, which is fairly common for isekai animes, even those that start off pretty strong.
Yeah, and I actually, well, since it's our longest running one, let's start with that first.
All right, so that is episode 17, The Gathering. So just to recap the events that happened in episode 16, because they fill it, they feed into this. The demon lord Millium has decided to live in the Jura Tempest Alliance city, Rimuru, Rimuru Tempest, her newly proclaimed bestie, and this has caused an upset among the other demon lords as they believe that Millium has somehow arranged an alliance with the Forest Jura and gained the support of essentially all the monster races within the forest. Now, the demon lord Carrion seeks to sort of upset the balance of power and has dispatched 3 of his beast getters to attack my boy and burn half of his fucking face off.
Oh yeah, Rieger just got destroyed.
He did, and then Millium beat the shit out of that guy.
Oh yeah, and that guy, Phobio is his name. He is a beast kidder, that's feline. I think he said leopard.
I'm not totally sure what he is.
Oh, he might have said his. I think he said leopard, but let's just go with that for now. So he basically is under the impression that Rimuru isn't in charge of everything when it comes to the Forest Alliance. Because how can a slime command all of these different monster races?
Yep.
And it's also nice to point out that the humans actually come in too in order to chat with Rimuru.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a band of mercenaries and the head of the Adventurers Guild and his trio coming in to set up a treaty or whatnot with Rimuru. At first, the mercenary band didn't believe that Rimuru was in charge, much like the Beast Ketters did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ultimately proven wrong. And by the end of his interaction with the humans, Rimuru just essentially said, hey, why don't we just make your mercenary band the guys who defeated the Orc Lord?
Which was an interesting and probably wise decision overall, right? Because he shifted his role from rogue monster element capable of killing extremely powerful monsters to potentially benevolent and useful monster.
Oh yeah, it's great because one of the things I really like Rimuru as a character is that he's just a dude. Even though he's a slime, he is a guy that feels like he's in way over his head in all these different situations. He's like, I don't want to be in charge of these people, but them's the breaks, I guess.
Yeah.
And plus, we'll talk about this more next week, but in episode 17, Fase, the head of the Adventurers Guild, he gets easily irritated. Rimuru gets easily irritated by him at one point. It's great.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what happened in that time I got reincarnated as a slime episode 16.
Yeah, I think that we're really just getting to essentially we're just setting some things up for this upcoming arc where inevitably Rimuru is going to come up against one, if not all, of the Demon Lord and slap them, make it look pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of fights. Episode 17 was fairly solid, but it was really just a setup episode. Nothing too terribly crazy happened.
Yeah, this episode and episode 18 are very much setup episodes for this, for what's coming in the future.
Yeah, I could honestly see them setting up a larger arc, doing the first portion of it with the last episode, and then hoping for a season 2, which would open up on the remainder of sort of the Demon Lord fight arc. Although I'm not totally sure how far the manga / light novel is comparatively, so it very well could be that they can't take it too far.
Well, if they can, they can. If they can't, they can't. Oh well, we're having a good run with this show anyway, so...
True.
What can we go wrong there? So what should we talk about next, Jordan?
Well, next on my queue is Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka. Episode 4, Babel Brigade. No, are we on? Did we talk about episode 3 last time?
We talked about, well, you mostly talked about the show because I forgot to watch it.
Ah, yes. Well, so just to recap, first episode, we open up, sort of sets up the scene. The Desus Beast or Dystonian War has ended, and our main character, Asuka, has retired as a magical girl, mostly suffering from PTSD from the events that happened during the war and immediately preceding it, or immediately before it. Episode 2, we deal with Asuka's or at the end of episode 1, Asuka is forced to transform to protect one of her friends from a terrorist who is being attacked by a terrorist that has been loosed on the city. In this time, we also get to introduce the second magical girl of the series, Kurumi, who was originally a member of Asuka's team and is now serving as a magical weapons researcher for the government of Japan. Then there's some very traditional friend transfers into the school year, blah, 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 blah. Episode 3, we start going smooth off the deep end, and essentially it sets up this, begins to establish the world at current, where we begin to see these sort of black market dealings, and one of the most badass all magical girls with her fucking magical AK-47 or whatever the hell it was.
It's an assault rifle for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want that in your school system, I'll tell you that.
Oh, hell no.
And really sets up the sort of this episode really sets the tone for the overarching plot of the series, which is going to be these illegal magical girls and their criminal objectives.
Yep, and
at the end of the episode, they actually kidnap. What is her name?
I don't remember these characters' names only other than Asuka and Kurumi. I only know one friend is Glasses Girl and the other is Sports Girl.
Well, Sports Girl gets kidnapped because her dad works for the government and is responsible for having captured and tortured one of the terrorist leaders. Then we get to episode 4. Ooh, buddy, episode 4. We called in some Russian sorcerer mercenaries. Just low.
Yeah, these two are twins that have different aspects because one spouts off something in Russian folklore about women
Mm-hmm.
that drown become wandering souls based in water, and the other has an axe that's forged by a magical blacksmith.
Mm-hmm. He apparently likes cooking people, so there's always that.
That yep, that is because you need that in your magical goons.
Well, of course.
And then we also are more. We see her in some of the episodes, but
Nozumi. It's
Abigail
Nozumi. Her name is Nozumi.
Nozomi. All right. Yeah, we meet our titular villain for this particular arc, Abigail,
Mm-hmm.
and her crazy ass. While watching this episode in particular, it kind of made me feel uncomfortable with how much joy and glee Abigail took in torturing this poor girl.
Yeah, she has some problems.
Yeah, she is unhinged. That's for damn sure. So unhinged. It makes me very scared and frightened for my life. And that the character's not even a real person. She's animated. She's not even real, and I feel terrified. But at least we got to see Asuka having some badass moments at the tail end of the episode, fighting the Russian twins.
True.
But it wasn't so nice of Nozomi losing an arm.
Yeah, no, Abigail was not here for the bullshit at all.
Nope, she wasn't here for any games either. Yeah, she tried her damnedest to make sure that she got her hands on a magical girl so she could turn said magical girl into a weapon of magical destruction.
Whatever the hell that means.
I don't know. Her boss lady, Queen, wants magical girls for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's fairly obvious why you would want them. What ends she wants them for is a little unclear, but they're kind of stupidly powerful and one of the few beings that possess like magical power. Also, it is interesting to think about uh, how magic works in this world. Not that I think it will ever really be talked about.
Yeah, and I kind of like the fact that unlike other magical girls series, the weapons that each of the magical girls have are fairly unique in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you don't expect like a fucking flamethrower or a goddamn assault rifle on a magical girl, right?
No, you don't, but you should start.
Yep, true. These are things that all you hear that mangaka that are trying to make magical girl series always include more assault rifles and flamethrowers on your magical girls.
Always.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how the next episode's going to fare with the next couple of fights. And since Kurumi doesn't have much battle uh, capabilities, I don't know how she's going to fare against Abigail. So that's going to be a thing.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
Next up, Jordan, what do we got?
Next up is Date A Live, episode 4, Transformation. So Natsumi has transformed all of the females or the spirits into children. And yeah, after fucking with my boy for a little bit with putting them into weird situations, which I assume was intentionally fan service for all the lolicons that watch this show.
Yeah, it made me feel uncomfortable for a long while, and then we had a small fight scene between Natsumi and Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen wasn't here for the bullshit.
Yeah, she's usually never here for the bullshit. She wants to get the job done. At least Natsumi put up a pretty decent fight up against her. But the rest of the episode pretty much ends with, well, a good portion of the episode is dedicated to making Natsumi feel like she's worth something in her normal form rather than her spirit form, because she has confidence issues. Which, it's a very sweet thing, and again, we have another moment where we see Shido in drag.
Honestly, I forgot that Shido wore drag in the series, and he literally did get me. Because I was honestly about to rewind the episode at that exact moment when he revealed himself. I was like, "Who the fuck is this bitch? Have I missed this whole time?"
No, it's just Shido. Apparently, if we remember what he had to do in order to basically, for Miku's whole arc, he had to pretend to be a girl.
Yeah. Flip side, though, real quick, where is my girl? What was her name again? She's the only one that's not there, so help me out here, Tony.
If you're talking about Origami,
no, Origami's there. She's the only one that has been shown in the series. Cox and death and.
God damn it! I know who you're talking about, but I think if memory best serves me, she's dead.
Wait a minute now. When did she die? Was this in a movie? Was this at the end of the series? Did I miss this?
I think she died.
Kurumi.
Yeah, Kurumi. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it's due to her nature and whatnot. It's been a long while. Sometimes I just need to play the refresh button. You're still looking it up, aren't you?
I'm reading. I'm listening, though.
But although the plot twist at the end of this episode, Origami fucking basically joining DEM Industries to base and siding with the enemy in order to get information on her parents' killer. And that's essentially the end of the episode. Oh, it makes me wonder how long they're going to continue this arc in particular.
Yeah, it's interesting. It will be, or I guess it will be interesting to see where things go.
Yeah. I mean, I would really like to see where everything is inevitably going to lead to. Was it another fight with Ellen involved? Because, goddamn, I'm ready. So, Jordan, if you are done reading about...
I am not, but I'm listening. So, Day A Live continuing in typical form. We're going to see how many more episodes Natsumi gets. I'm suspecting at least 2 more, because I guess that would just make parallel sense. Although I don't know who the next spirit is in the series that's going to be introduced, because I don't think that they're going to set up anything too major with only 6 episodes left, unless they finish up this arc and then move into something pretty substantial coming here fairly soon.
Well, that would be interestingly fun.
Yeah. But episode 4, I'm sorry, but the next series on my list is, in fact, The Rising of the Shield Hero, episode 4, Lullaby at Dawn. The wave has ended, and now Fumi is more or less forcibly recalled to a celebratory banquet at the castle, where he, along with the other heroes, are supposed to be thanked for their work during the wave. Obviously, Naofumi is not amongst the thing, but he's forced to be there nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember her name.
Rep,
Nope, the other one. There's
oh,
literally only two women in the entire series. Come on now.
oh, mine.
Yes, mine convinces Moriyasu. Well, doesn't convince. Tells Moriyasu that Raftalia is Naofumi's slave and that he should rescue her from slavery. And obviously, Moriyasu being the stereotypical white knight protector, rushes at the opportunity, challenges Naofumi to a duel, which Naofumi squarely denies, and then is forced to do it by a decree of the king. They do a one-on-one duel, and Naofumi is beating Moriyasu's ass because
Yep.
honestly, Moriyasu and the other heroes are not very good heroes. They're pretty much playing this like an RPG and haven't really learned the ins and outs of actual factual fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, Mind cheats with air magic, and no one says anything. And Moriyasu, being the oblivious individual that he is, doesn't see any of this and assumes that he won because he was stronger than Naofumi. They break Raftalia's slave curse, and Naofumi falls into a manic hallucinatory state coupled with deep soul-sucking depression. It then
Soul-sucking depression and resentment.
Yes, it eats at his soul, and he curses the world, which satisfies a hidden condition within the legendary items, unlocking the very infamous, if you've read the manga, cursed series of shields.
Yep.
Luckily, however, Raptalia, being the best girl, OG, loyal, just solid as she is, badmouths all of them for even wasting their time taking off her slave contract, saying that Naofumi had never done anything to her that she, don't want to say didn't want because that sounds suspicious. He didn't do anything wrong to her, and he always treated her with respect and kindness, even though she was his slave. She goes to his side. There's some back and forth. Heart-touching little speech about how she'll always be there and be his sword. And then he comes out of it. Also, he realizes that Raptalia is no longer a 10-year-old child, but an adult woman.
Yep. And he's like, who are you again?
Like, run that shit by me again? Who the fuck is this? But for what it's worth, the bow and the sword hero do come forward and say that they saw Mind cheat. And this is actually the start of a cascade of events that will inevitably conclude, hopefully, within this series.
Yeah.
I won't get into what those events are because they're worthy of being seen with fresh eyes and unbiased.
These are praiseworthy moments, and it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I personally am looking forward to the events that are all coming up.
Oh, yeah. I am looking forward to it as well. And what's really interesting is that the next episode is going to be focusing on Philo.
Yes, don't speak on it, but yes.
Yeah.
If you watch intros and outros, then you've already seen her. One thing though that I failed to mention is that it is revealed in this episode that Mine is the princess, the crown princess. And Naofumi realizes that his entire time here has been a setup. Mine always intended to double cross him. And she knew that her father would facilitate and back up her lies to give them the credence that they needed to be carried through.
Oh, yeah, because once with events that we'll find out, well, those who are anime onlys will find out if they actually get to it, but stuff that we know and have to be very vague about it. Since
I
Mom actually mentioned this in the first episode, this kingdom is a matriarchy, so it's technically ruled by a queen. And I hope you guys are wondering, where is that queen, you may say?
mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, it's all going to come into place.
yep, everything will just fall into place and just arrive in due time.
Yeah, but honestly, I think we're going to get to the next wave before the end of the series, given the pacing of events in the interim. Right,
Yeah,
there's maybe
true.
2 or 3 episodes worth of stuff between the next wave and this, and I'm sure that in reality they could probably stretch it to be 4 or 5, but not 8. They can't make it 8 episodes, not reasonably at least.
Mm-hmm. At least with what's going on in the manga and light novels right now, it's very interesting. So,
True.
but stuff to look forward to in the future. So, what's next on the list, Jordan?
Next on the list is Mob Psycho 100. We're on episode 4, yes?
Yeah.
All right, so whew, whew,
Yeah, episode 4, mostly because Reagan and Mob were hired to get rid of an evil spirit by this very rich individual. Said evil spirit has possessed the rich guy's daughter, and this gentleman is paying a hefty amount of money to all psychics that he can muster to get rid of this evil spirit, which, by the way, this evil spirit has a connection to Dimple.
unsurprising.
Yep. And also, we got to see a former member of the echelon of Claw in there, too.
This is true.
Yeah, the creepy spirit guy. Because, of course, we need more of him in there.
Of course.
I mean, it makes sense because his shtick was all about evil spirits and whatnot. So I will give that a pass.
True.
And this spirit, oh, he did not put up with anybody's bullshit. He fucked everybody's day up.
He really did. He just, I don't even know what to say. He just wasn't here for the bullshit.
Nope, he manipulated and warped this poor girl he's possessing. He possessed a powerful psychic and the head of Uramatsu's order. Yeah, he really kicked the shit out of the old man. And then when Mob was trying to get rid of him on the inside, he's basically going to show Mob what it's like without his psychic powers. I mean, this dude is fucking strong. And we all thought Mob can basically handle anything in his way, except for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I find really funny? That Regan actually called that the little girl was possessed and that she was just putting on a show.
It takes a con man to recognize a con, right?
Yep, certainly.
That other poor fuck, he got
destroyed
soon enough.
Yep.
So that did not play in his favor.
Oh no. Nobody else was prepared because those miserable fucks tried everything in their power to get rid of this evil spirit. Yep. He just fought them off really, really painfully. And I gotta say, the author, one, he has interesting character designs for a lot of these characters, especially, well, One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. I kind of find all the character designs in both of his series very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can a man wearing a bikini top and looks like a bodybuilder be classified as a psychic?
Easy, man. Easy.
Some things I just don't know, Jordan. Some of those things I really don't want to know.
Of course you do.
Uh, but I'm really looking forward to the next episode, episode 5, because it's mostly going to be like a what if scenario, which I find those kinds of little side tangents very interesting. And I'm really curious to see how the gang is going to get out of this one.
It should be an interesting series of episodes. I personally just want to see what this 100 is.
Oh, God. Yes.
Oh, wait, did we say the conclusion of the episode?
I basically said the conclusion that that Mob is fighting against the evil spirit, and the evil spirit's going to show him what it's like without his powers.
No, you're downplaying it. Mob literally releases his fucking soul and possesses a possessed body.
Yeah,
and they have a spirit battle inside of this girl.
I know I'm downplaying it, but I want those who are watching this episode in particular to find out that little nugget of information for themselves, you know? Because that's actually something that's really well animated. I will give it that.
Yes. No, I can't. I personally will be watching episode 5 the moment that this finishes.
Yeah, I would, but I would have to leave at work to go to work at around 8 or so, which hopefully I may have time, but it's all up in the air, really, for me.
Yeah. Well, that's enough about Mob. The next one on my list is actually the one that I told you I haven't watched yet, which is episode 4, well, 3 and 4 technically, of The Promised Neverland. Tony, you want to take over?
Well, okay. So essentially, what happened in episode 4 is our trio decided to include Gilda and Don into their fold to see who is the traitor amongst the children, because Mom and Sister Crone are aware that Emma, Ray, and Norman know what their agenda is with the demons. So our boy Norman devised an easy way to see who the traitor of the group would be. Between Gilda and Don, he devised a way. He hit the ropes at 2 separate locations and told them different stories of where the rope would be after Don and Gilda were informed of the situation. But Emma and the gang decided to hide the fact that there are demons that eat children's brains out of the equation.
I'd leave it out, yeah.
Because these two may not believe it. And then there's a moment where I thought my theory that Gilda was going to be the traitor was actually proven wrong. So there we go. And then
I told you, didn't feel right.
But I want you to watch the episode to kind of get what I'm going to say here. But all I'm going to say about the tail end of the episode is a conversation between Norman and Ray. And the big plot twist and the big cliffhanger of the episode is going to be very interesting. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do with episode 5. And until you get caught up, Jordan, I'm not going to talk about it here any further. I think that would be very fair, right?
Yeah.
So what else does that leave us, Jordan?
I think, well, I mean, the last one up is Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
All right.
Episode 4, Kaguya wants affection, / the student council wants it to be said.
Oh.
/ Kaguya wants him to send it / Miyu Shirogane wants to talk. These titles are so fucking long.
Oh yeah, because they're their own little individual side stories of just
Mm-hmm.
little snippets of misadventures. So the episode starts with Kaguya and cat wearing cat ears, and Miyuki just like, God damn it, she's cute. I can't give off the face that I really enjoy this. She is cute. So when I get tensed up, it looks like I have a scary face.
Yeah, they both undergo like a fucking mental breakdown as they reciprocally wear cat ears.
And our girl, Fujiwara, basically unaware of the situation, is like, yep, cat ears are banned, but to ban, like, all student council members are banned from wearing cat ears because it's causing mental distress. And then the next episode is it's kind of the next part of the episode is this big section that led to a meetup with a French school. So the start of it is playing a game to see which two individuals are going to be going shopping together. And it's called the banned word game.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you write a word, you place it on top of your head, and you have to make sure you don't say the word you're given.
Well, obviously you don't know what that word is, but yes.
So if you say the word, you're automatically out. Which I gotta give it to Fujiwara. I mean, I read this manga each new chapter that it comes out. This girl does not play around. She may seem all cute and just overly happy. She is one cunning individual.
She really is. She got them both. Hey, I was underprepared.
Don't fuck with a woman who can play mind games with you, man. It's no good.
You know, I never intended on it, but now I'm definitely going to make it an active pursuit. Not so. Just avoid that with like the play.
And which led to Kaguya, since, if we recall, she got Miyuki's phone number since he got a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
And her maid, her name escapes me at the moment, but she basically says, why don't you just quit being a bitch and try to text him? And Kaguya's pretty much like, no, he should text me. That way it would be a lot easier. And the maid, not having her shit, decided, you know what, why don't you just call him? And so she did. But she ends up getting Miyuki's father first, and then had to play a game of small telephone or pass the phone to Miyuki, who, of course, in typical anime fashion, is in the bath.
Yes. Why would he not be in the bath, Tony? Come on now.
Why would he not be in the bath? For that sweet fan service for the ladies who watch this show, I guess.
Hey, man, everyone's got to have it.
Yep, this is true. These are facts. And the whole point of this little tidbit is that Kaguya wants to know what time they should go shopping together, which turns out to be a moot point because it started a major downpour started happening, and the maid's like, yeah, you're not going outside. Fuck that noise. And our boy Miyuki just out there in the rain, looking like a sad sack.
Yeah. My boy is he was dedicated, but not necessarily smart.
Yep, dedicated to the cause, but not really the brightest. And this is very evident in the last part of the episode where they actually have the party with the French students, and it is revealed that Miyuki cannot speak French like the other students in the student council can.
Although it does work out in his favor in the end.
Yep, very true. Because the headmaster decided to enlist the help of one of the French students to basically badmouth the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm. And obviously Kaguya ate her soul.
Yeah, that this poor girl ended up feeling so much fear that her hair just went white. And it made Kaguya feel like, oh, I am a horrible person. I am the same. It makes me feel like the person I used to be. And he's like, does I know you were trying to defend me and whatnot, so I don't mind.
Yeah,
It was
fucking.
very
I just
sweet.
want to know what kind of person she used to be at this point.
Well, from what I can kind of ascertain since I read the manga, she used to be a very cold and distant person that is willing to basically treat people like dog shit.
I can see it.
Yeah, most rich girls tend to give off that air anyway. Oh my god. But
At least in anime.
at
But
least in
all
it.
that aside, this week, solid week. Looking forward for next week. Still going to catch up on the shows that updated today.
Yep.
Hopefully, they'll be pretty good.
And
What is the otaku soapbox for today, though, Tony?
well, actually, it's kind of an idea that I never really thought I would want to talk about, like, especially since it's kind of out of season, if I want to push it. Because I would think would have saved this topic for like sometime in October, but I haven't watched the video myself. But Mother's Basement posted a video recently talking about like his reason why horror anime, like in general, is not typically scary, and that anime that has horror elements and don't play up to the horror are more are more scary compared to actual horror anime.
I think, well, I mean, beyond the fact that I don't really watch them all too often, I think I understand what he means. Typically, when an anime is shooting for the horror element, they end up with these sort of grindhouse splatterfest sort of deal, where it's just a lot of like grotesqueness more than horrific. So it becomes almost predictable.
Which I could agree with you there, and
And I don't think that the modern anime styles really fit well into the horror genre, right? It's not like the early 90s or late or like mid 80s where they were going for like the hyper realistic sort of look.
oh yeah, I
Sort
can
of
agree
like
with you
your,
there.
I want to say, well, sort of like your Blue Ginger, but Blue Ginger didn't come out in the 90s, I don't think.
Well, the one thing that I can basically say is that,
Good.
and sometimes some material doesn't look like okay. One of the images that are in his video thumbnail is the Junji Ito collection anime that was last season, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And how, from what I can understand, it kind of failed as an anime. Well, it was definitely below our radar. Not that we weren't interested in it, it's just, for me, I like horror, but I was like, I'll watch it later, see if it actually catches my interest. But I think when you try to put a certain author's art style into motion,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of falls out of place. And I think that, if I remember correctly, that's what happened with the Junji Ito collection. It's like some people are saying that it's kind of difficult to animate Ito's art.
Which could be very true, right? I think a lot of things, especially around like body horror, can be especially difficult to animate because they were never really intended to be. Well, they're not intended to exist in the first place, never, nor less intended to move in real space.
Right. And I can agree with you there, but there is a horror anime that I really enjoy watching from time to time. It's actually on my queue that when I get the chance to it, it essentially has very low frame rates,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically plays very close to its horror. Like it plays its horror close to its chest in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. the name escapes me, but it kind of works like, well, it basically tells these interesting ghost stories that are told around Japan in animated form. And it's told from the perspective like a horror anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who loves horror anthologies personally, I kind of like that appeal to it. And I find a lot of those moments to be very creepy and very, well, to some people who may watch it, very scary. But there are some things in anime that are taking turns in horror, like The Promised Neverland's first episode when we saw Connie's dead body. That was terrifying. So it's things. It's
I
you know
wouldn't say it was terrifying, but it was definitely unsettling.
yeah. So and I think that's one of the things that non-horror anime have in the fear and terror department over actual horror anime is that it's what you would least expect.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at a few things right now that are considered to be um, horror anime, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just like, I wouldn't say most of these fit the bill, but I guess they tried their best.
Uh, what are some of the examples, Jordan?
So most recently there is obviously Promised Neverland, Castlevania season two. Now Castlevania season two was dark, but I wouldn't say it was scary. Uh, Tokyo Ghoul Re. I don't think Tokyo Ghoul's scary, but I'm also not sort of desensitized by certain things. Devilman Crybaby. Now that was some dark shit. Uh, yeah, I'm just trying to find the King's Game. The King's Game was a horror show. I'm not sure if people watched it. Um, it's a little weird.
I mean,
Uh,
it caught my interest for a little bit, then I just lost track of it.
every Berserk ever is
True.
listed. Uh, Ajin, I wouldn't say Ajin's a horror though. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't. But
Right.
Gantz, I find Gantz, Gantz is just weird.
Everything about Gantz is weird.
Yeah, like I don't know. I haven't really seen a series that's like hard horror in a while now.
I mean, one thing that I can recall that ultimately I find very disturbing. There are some moments in Blood Sea that I've I found very disturbing.
Isn't like all of Blood Sea disturbing?
In some way or form, yes, but I ultimately can stomach through a lot of it. And there's still shit that I need to watch that you recommended.
I mean, if you want to like be able to sleep at night, don't watch certain things that I recommended. Like, I wish I could unsee Genocyber. I really do.
There's well,
I
there's
can't.
well, there's a lot of things that we can't just unsee, Jordan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is the case. But I think that will end another episode of Weeb Warriors. And can you believe we're up to episode 31 of this little series, Jordan?
Yes. Yes, I can actually.
Yeah, it all started with just pure nonsense, just a group of friends watching anime, and it still is, even though it's just two individuals watching anime.
Yeah, Joey and Brian flaked out. Fucking shit.
Although fucking Jay has been telling me that he enjoys Kaguya-sama.
Well, that's good. It'd be nice if he could ever get on and actually give his thoughts to the audience, but we'll deal with that one day when we get there.
Yep.
But yeah,
And when October rolls around later this year, when my Hero's next season comes out, because that bitch better be here. Because it's one of our favorite arcs in My Hero, because it's Chiaki's arc, which
Mm-hmm.
fucking damn it, what is his villain name again? Overhaul. You don't fuck with Overhaul, and it's fucking brilliant. It's going to be just pure unadulterated nuttery. Anyway, catch you guys later, since you had to really type that out, Jordan.